We're in the Mid-South Coliseum here in Memphis, Tennessee for Trucks and Tractor Power here on the National Network. Hi, I'm Gary Lee. Alongside is Rich Hooser. And as the popularity of monster truck motorsports continues to grow, it has become a year-round competition, which means moving indoors on occasion. And with 800 to 1,000 horsepower in a monster truck, it can be a very delicate situation in hooking up all that horsepower to a short course.
Indeed it does, Gary. Now, what these guys are doing on these indoor tracks as well as outdoors is the transfer case that they're using. They're enabled to change the gears in this to compensate for a long course or a short course and to judge their speed on how fast they need to go.
And in this competition, reaction time at the starting line is vital.
Indeed it is. Now, the first guy off the starting line is usually going to be the winner, because if you goof up halfway through the track, you don't have no time to make up for it.
And our third member of the broadcast crew is Army Armstrong. He'll be along momentarily as we return to Memphis for monster truck competition. Stay with us. Tractor Power from the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee. First round competition, a bye run for your fast qualifier, Bigfoot number 8. This is Andy Brass out of St. Louis, Missouri. And a relatively easy run after turning a qualifying time of 3.79, but once again, only a bye. Here are your matchups now for first round competition. Awesome Kong against Whiskey Business. Then it's the Buffalo Tremor and Playing for Keeps. Here's a good shootout between Gravedigger and USA 1. The Carolina Crusher and Mad Dog, the Jersey Outlaw, and a crunched King Crunch after last week's competition. Wild Hair and the Clydesdale, the Equalizer, and Nightlife. Now first, side-by-side competition, Steve Kane, the very narrow Chevrolet known as Awesome Kong. And here is Ken Deppy in the Whiskey Business out of St. Louis, Missouri. The Texas truck, Awesome Kong, Steve Kane, the chauffeur, and he has a good view from a very narrow Chevrolet on the inside lane. They are staged waiting for the green light. There it is. And Awesome Kong has some trouble. He gets off the cars down toward the finish line.
Yeah, Gary, he had a little problems when he hit them cars. Now, from my viewpoint, I couldn't really tell if he hit them crooked or if he just landed. Let's take a look here on the replay screen. And come over the hill, they're both pretty much side by side, but Kong hit the cars a little before he did, and I think he just hit him on a little bit of an angle. Army Armstrong's got Steve Kane now.
Steve Kane, looks like a good run, but the truck had a tendency to work to the left. What caused that?
Yeah, I think I had my front wheels turned a little bit when I come out of the hole there, and it shot me that way.
Now, for you fans of the heartbeat of America, we have a pair of Chevrolets coming side by side. Here's Playing for Keeps, Jesse Berkey. And here is the Buffalo Tremor, Johnny K. out of New York with almost 1,500 horsepower. About 800 horsepower for Playing for Keeps. This is first round action. Playing for Keeps on the inside, the Buffalo Tremor on the far lane from the Mid-South Coliseum here in Memphis, Tennessee. Well, that time, it was simply a horsepower situation as the Buffalo Tremor got out in front and stayed out in front.
Yeah, Gary, from my viewpoint, it looks like Johnny K just used a little bit too much horsepower. As you can see, he's got a lot of area and just bounces. It was a rough ride for him, and Playing for Keeps just did a nice, smooth run over the cars.
Well, Johnny K., you came in the door probably with as much, if not more, horsepower than anybody, but is this going to be a day for a horsepower in order to take a win?
No, I think it's more suspension than it is horsepower. But with the horsepower, we're hoping to pull it through.
Who's got the suspension that you're envying? Who's got the hot hand this afternoon in Memphis?
Bigfoot.
Army, I think everybody envies Bigfoot, but here's a crowd pleaser right here. This is a Gravedigger, Dennis Anderson, the 1950 Chevrolet panel truck out of, get this city, Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. And he goes up against the third fastest qualifier, Steve Wilkie in USA 1.
And Gary, I might mention, Steve Wilkie's taken over the driving from Murad Litzau, and he's doing one heck of a job tonight.
Modern day Chevrolet versus vintage body style Chevrolet. Well, a no stand by USA 1, a lot of smoke from the Gravedigger.
Well, Gary, I'm not sure what happened to the Gravedigger, but I do know what happened to USA 1. His back tires hit that first car, just threw him up in the air. Great driving skill by Wilkie.
That was better than a blue ticket ride at Disney World, son. You should have seen the look on your face.
It feels good. Digger's beating me up all year, and I finally put down a 409, which is what we've been trying to do all weekend. It felt really good, a little nose over in the cars, but if that's what it takes, that's what we're here for.
Well, Army, we'll give him a 9 on style points for that one. As we take a look at one of the most unusual rigs out here, this is part of the Breen Brothers Racing Team. That's Mad Dog against Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher. We have Bob Breen in the near lane, and Gary Porter in the far lane. They are staged now, ready for the start. Watch for the green light. Well, really no competition there. A length victory for the Carolina Crusher.
Well, one thing I can say, Gary, now Bobby Breen is driving Mad Dog here. Of course, we can see inside what he's seeing. Now, John Breen usually drives this truck, but he's at home right now building a new truck for their racing team.
And here is the beat-up King Crunch. It was damaged last weekend in competition. Army is standing by with the driver, Scott Stevens, and his crew chief.
What kind of run can we look for this afternoon? You look kind of like a walking wounded out there.
Army, right now things are looking real good because the Outlaw won't start. Uh-oh, he started. So he's got this one.
Well, indeed, the Outlaw has started. You might wonder, with less than a healthy truck, why Scott brought this Chevy out.
We're just here for the points today. You know, it's a long season, and the 4 points we get here today make us a lot of money at the end of the year.
So as the Jersey Outlaw begins to stage, Mike Wine will take this victory, as you heard it from the crew chief, that King Crunch will not be competitive here this afternoon. The Outlaw takes the victory, and King Crunch was a bridesmaid waiting at the altar.
Yeah, all he had to do was just get across the starting line there so he can accumulate his points.
There's a wild paint job on the truck they call Wild Hair. This is the Chevrolet of Marvin Smith. He will be in the near lane with 468 cubic inches out of Arnold, Missouri, turning at about 700 horsepower. And he goes up against the ex-rodeo rider out of Georgia in the Clydesdale #2. This is Bennett Clark. As they stage now, roll up to this mound at the starting line. Watch for the green starting light. A close race to the midsection of those junk cars, but then at the very end, it was Marvin Smith taking the victory in the Wild Hair.
Well, Gary, Bennett could have had that win, but I tell you, just like I mentioned earlier, you don't have time to change your mind about anything that happens on this short course. And what happened, he didn't give it enough gas, and his back end came like that, and it was too late.
That was close, because that Clydesdale wasn't cutting you any slack.
Well, I'll tell you what the problem's been all weekend, Army. I'm having a hard time with my carburetors. I can't get it to run right, so what I had to do, I backed off once I corrected to get the carburetors from popping out. So I'm just trying to keep it alive. We're going to make some changes for next week.
And now we conclude the first round competition with Dave Wyzorek in the Nightlife #2. And there is your defending national champion, David Morris, in the Equalizer. He is the second fastest qualifier here in Memphis this afternoon. They are staged. We are ready for the start. Oh, look at that run by Morris in the Equalizer.
Well, Gary, he just took it nice and easy. If you ask me, that truck's able to go a lot faster than what it did. It was a picture-perfect run. He just came over the hill, no air, and as soon as he hit them cars, he just nailed it, almost clearing them all, but he was just able to beat out Nightlife.
Second round competition coming up on Trucks and Tractor Power from the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis. Stay tuned.